Oh dear, dear, dear. Welcome to another episode of Hot Takes. My last video was about the lunacy of the Greens. I'm afraid I've got another one, but this one is way, way more serious. These lunatics and their policies are destroying this country, and no more than in one of its biggest earners. Dealers are now starting to worry for their jobs. Car makers are now worried for their entire future. Because of a law passed by lunatic Greens, so many percentage of cars must be electric. It's illegal to sell beyond this amount of what they call ICE engines, internal combustion engines, over the percentage that it is for electric vehicles. And that came in, it was originally quite a low percentage, but it rises every year until 2035 on the continent, until 2030 here, because again, lunatics. And so because nobody is buying electric cars, dealers by law are not allowed to sell non-electric cars. Well, actually, no, that's not true. They can sell them. However, the moment they sell them, they have to pay £11,000 per car to the government as a punishment for selling an internal combustion engine car over the percentage that they're supposed to sell at. And so what are they doing? They're not selling them. They're limiting them. They are rationing normal cars. And then they hope to sell a few electrics to a few idiots that buy electric cars. Hooray, we can sell another 4 proper cars. Now, because the dealers aren't dealing and selling, the dealers are letting staff go. And that's bad enough. But when the car makers aren't producing enough cars because they're not allowed to sell them, they're going to let whole production lines go. Thousands of people across the country unemployed, factories lying idle, poverty spreading. Why? What difference does it make? I'll tell you, it makes precisely the square root of bugger all difference. Every car in this country could be green tomorrow and the country would grind to a halt. 1, we haven't got the generation capacity for it. 2, we don't have the national grid capable of handling it. 3, we haven't got the proven lifetime technology sussed out yet. 4, the weight of the cars is too great. It would cause collapse on the roads and in car parks and things like that. And 5, the economic damage of buying an electric car is horrendous. Not least of all, of course, because the moment you buy it, it's practically worthless. And that is why they're not building them. Now, China has got a field with literally millions of electric cars that they are desperate to flood into Europe, and thus destroying the entirety of Europe's car industry. And we've already talked today about how Volkswagen are, for the first time ever, a German car maker that's going to close a car plant in Germany. It has never happened before. In the 150 years of car making in Germany, they have never, ever closed a car plant in Germany. And now they are. And they're doing it because of the Chinese flooding the market. And now, even worse than that, our own governments are saying, no, you're not allowed to sell proper cars. You're not allowed to sell what the public want. Meanwhile, China, producing all these electric cars, still produces its own internal combustion engine cars. Because China doesn't care. China wants an economy. China is destroying the planet. China and India, between them, 75% of the world's pollution. Why is nobody addressing that? Why are we having to live in caves so that China can pump the world full of shit and toxin and pollution? And worse, destroy all Western jobs by mass producing stuff using slave labour, and our governments are letting this happen. Indeed, encouraging this to happen. I don't know how many jobs will be lost in this country. Most of them. Certainly a lot of them. the car industry will die on its arse. So the likes of the Mini down in Oxford, you've got Swindon with Toyota, you've got Nissan in the northeast. You know, there's a lot of car building in this country even now. All those jobs will go, disappear, and with them entire economies slaughtered. But it's worse than that. It's the tax that's lost, and then the benefits that have to be paid out. It's all part of the plan, though, isn't it? Keep them poor, keep them miserable, have Keir Starmer's boot on a human face forever. Comrade Keir must be wetting his pants at the prospect of mass unemployment. When they're poor and on benefit, you can control them. You can control where they go, you control what they eat, you control everything. It's just, it's a disgusting place we're living in. And no one is, of course, standing up. No one is standing up and saying enough's enough. The trouble is, if anyone does stand up and say enough's enough, they're being locked away. Soon, in the gulags in Estonia. That's the plan. Take them up to the grim frozen north. The families cannot see them. They'll be out of earshot. The problem will go away. And meanwhile, more and more jobs are lost. More and more industries die and crumble. Ostensibly for the Greens. But of course, this is nothing to do with green reasoning. This is all political. Britain has got enough oil and coal and gas. And the rest of the world don't like that, because that makes us self-sustainable in terms of energy. And a country that's self-sustainable in anything cannot be controlled. You cannot turn the taps off at the border. That's why they're destroying all the farmland, of course. If we don't comply, they starve us out. Well, it's now the cars. If we don't comply, there'll be mass unemployment. But whatever idiot said, oh, you've got to have so many electric cars that will never run because they can be switched off like that. At the central switch, and boom, every single car can be turned off. That's the plan. You buy your cars, you get them all. Then when you're in your 15-minute ghettos, bang. You've got no cars, you cannot travel. And when you cannot travel, you cannot mass. And you cannot protest en masse. And you cannot have a revolution. It's coming. The day is coming. I hope to God it's after I'm long, long dead. Unless, of course, we stand up and say enough is enough, and say you can't jail us all. Thanks a lot. Till next time, stay safe, stay well, let me know what you think, and I will say goodbye.